Twilight Zone was a TV series created and presented by Rod Serling in the 1960s, and in my opinion one of the best TV shows ever. The 80s show was a revival of the sci-fi series with remakes and new episodes 20 years later after the originals. The show contained mostly ironic or special situations with a surprising twist at the end, showing the human nature coupled with science, fiction, horror, or fantasy. This is my top 16 episodes of the 1980s. Number 16. Dreams for Sale. On an outdoor picnic with a family, a woman becomes confused and disoriented when her husband starts acting weird.
Yes. I guess so.
You okay, honey?
Why do you keep saying that?
Saying what?
Her vision stutters and events begin repeating themselves. Eventually, her reality becomes distorted with repeating images and sounds. She was kinda, what's going on here? Am I going crazy or what? Waking in a dream-making machine alongside hundreds of others, she discovers the supposed relaxing outdoor picnic is nothing more than an escapist fantasy that is beamed directly into her brain. A very fine line between reality and fantasy. Number 15. Extra Innings. Ed Hamler is an ex-baseball player, disabled from an injury and forced to retire early. Yet he never lost his love for the game. Paula, a young friend, finds an old baseball card of a player named Money Hanks, a fellow baseball player who has the same stats as Ed, but lived 78 years ago.
Kinda like the guy you see in the mirror, right?
One night Ed is awakened by a mysterious light coming from the old card he got. He realizes that the card is in fact a bridge to the past. The card transports him back to 1910, and he becomes Money Hanks. His injury is gone and he can play like never before. In the present, his wife wants him to get a job and focus on it.
You could have had the Vetracomp job, but no, you just walked away from it.
And things conflict with timing of games in 1910. Ed then finds himself torn between the present and the past. Number 14. Aqua Vitter. Christy Copperfield is a successful news anchor for a local TV station. She just hit 40 and has been worrying a lot about looking older, since her appearance is part of her job. One day Shauna, a co-worker who is actually almost 50 years old, but is incredibly good looking, introduces her to Aqua Vitter, which she says will help her look younger.
This works.
Christy finds out Aqua Vitter is actually simply water, and the first bottle is free.
There's no charge for the first one, Missy.
After her first drink, she looks years younger and feels really great.
Pardon me?
But then the price of the water goes up dramatically, and both Christy and Shauna end up finding themselves in trouble with an unexpected side effect.
Oh my God.
Number 13. The Trunk. Willie Gardner manages a rundown hotel. One day as he makes his rounds at noon for checkout time, he comes across an open door to one of the rooms. In the room, Willie finds a trunk which he opens and finds empty. Standing by the empty trunk, he makes an offhanded remark.
Wish I had a nickel for every old piece of luggage ever left in this hotel.
After closing the trunk, Willie attempts to move it, but it's become too heavy. He opens it again to find the trunk filled with nickels. He learns that the trunk can grant all of his wishes, and that he doesn't really need money when he can wish for anything he wants out of it. But you know, more power, more problems. And it doesn't take long before Willie realizes that real friends are something you just can't buy. Number 12. The After Hours. In this remake of the classic episode of the 1960s, Marcia Cole frantically runs up to a mall's doors in order to buy a birthday gift. Although it's closing, she manages to get in after begging one of the mall employees. Passing through gallery, she finds it weird when some guys begin following her. After a while, she finds an open store, and she gets confused when the clerk starts calling her by name and asking about her past.
Where were you before this past month, Marcia? Why are you doing this to me?
She can barely remember about it, except for the last 30 days. Things get weird and she tries to get away from what seems to be a nightmare. To make matters worse, she starts seeing shadowy figures and hearing mysterious voices around her.
Marcia. Marcia. Marcia.
Number 11. Still Life. Dan Arnold discovers an old camera hidden inside an antique trunk he bought.
There's film in this camera.
Upon developing the photos, he learns that they're of a 1913 expedition to the Amazon. Daniel goes to the local university to get more information about the photos. At college, he meets Professor Storrow, who was on the expedition.
The Amazon River Basin.
You have no photographs. There can be no photographs.
He tells Daniel that there could be no photos because the Indian tribe they met in the Amazon felt that making any image of them was to steal their souls, and they had smashed the camera. Although the photos were genuine, the Indians who should be in the photos are missing.
And where are the Kurokai?
Becky!
Daniel then returns home to find the missing Indians inside his house. A house that now is more like a jungle, full of traps and unconventional weapons. Number 10. A Small Talent for War. On a regular day at the United Nations, Russia and the US are trying not to declare war on each other. Suddenly a figure appears in the midst, announcing itself as the alien ambassador of a race who seeded Earth 2 million years ago, bringing forth life. He's very disappointed in the human race.
We see that you have a small talent for war.
According to him, humans have failed to produce the potential expected by the aliens over the centuries. The ambassador then announces that his fleet will destroy all life on Earth. The Security Council pleads for and is granted a 24-hour reprieve to prove Earth's worth, and that they can do better. With the survival of the humanity at stake, they spend the 24 hours coming up with a global peace agreement, hoping that would be enough to save the skin. The alien returns 24 hours later to be astonished and amused by the outcome.
I fear you have misunderstood me.
Number 9. Something in the Walls. Dr. Mallory Craig arrives at Crest Ridge Sanitarium. He's a new psychologist and new member of the staff. He's introduced to Nurse Becky Robb, who provides the file of the patients he's to be overseeing. After looking into the files, he questions Beck about one Sharon Miles, who committed herself. Becky says they constantly hear screams from Sharon's room. She tells him about her unusual habits and that Sharon is a very frightened woman. Dr. Craig wants to know about what is frightening her. And in one of the counseling sessions, Sharon says that she only feels safe when there are no patterns. She talks about seeing faces emerging from the wall. Not just an optical illusion, but real faces. And that she feels like they're trying to hurt or kill her. Number 8. Button Button. Arthur and Norma Lewis are a very poor married couple dealing with financial problems in a low-rent apartment. One day they receive a mysterious locked box with a button and a note about a visit in the evening.
I have no idea.
Later on, Norma is visited by Mrs. Stewart, a mysterious man who brings them a unique opportunity.
When you push the button, two things will happen. First, someone whom you do not know will die. And then afterward, you will receive $200,000 tax-free.
So they have 24 hours to decide whether or not to push the button before the guy returns to collect the box. They spend the night debating about it. The following day, Mrs. Stewart returns with the $200,000 and to take back the box. Did they push the button? What would you have done? Number 7. The Misfortune Cookie. Harry Folger is a snobby and arrogant food critic for a major newspaper. Restaurants live or die by his reviews. The guy has even a collection of matchbooks of restaurants he's destroyed. One day, Harry writes a negative review about a new Chinese restaurant without even tasting the food. But he agrees to visit the place after being called out by his boss.
Don't worry, I'll stop by later.
At the restaurant, he orders a lot of food and then asks for the check before even trying any of his meals.
Could I have my check, please?
Though disappointed, the owner, Mr. Lee, presents him with a special fortune cookie. As Harry walks out of the restaurant, making fun of his fortune, a robber knocks him down and drops $100,000 in diamonds before running away.
I'm going to give you the $1,000 these clowns were supposed to have.
What?
He gets $1,000 as a reward, realizing the fortune cookies are indeed magical. He keeps coming back for more, but you know, every day is not a Sunday. And he ends up finding out that the fortune cookies actually deliver due fortune. Number 6. The Library. Ellen Pendleton arrives at a private library answering a job ad. She's given the job as a librarian by Gloria, who manages the business. But when Gloria shows her around, Ellen is astonished to find that the building is much bigger on the inside. Ellen becomes suspicious when she sees that each book has a person's name on it.
These books hold lives, don't they?
Now that you mention it, yes, they do.
Eventually, she discovers that the books contain the descriptions of people's lives, and when a person dies, the book is to be removed. At home, Ellen is constantly disturbed by her noisy neighbors, and one day she decides to complain, but without success. As a revenge, she rewrites a chapter in her neighbor's book. She makes one change, and eventually her entire life spirals out of control, to the point of putting other people's lives in jeopardy, including her own sisters. Now all she needs is just one more change. Number 5. Take My Life, Please. Billy Diamond, a successful stand-up comedian, performs a routine on a famous TV talk show to huge success. The problem here is that the Gorilla Banana routine was created by Dave, a novice comedian. Billy stole it from him, and now that Billy has been seen doing the routine on TV, Dave can never perform it again, since people will think Dave stole it from Billy. While driving away from the TV studio, Billy is ambushed by Dave, who threatens him with a gun. Dave wants money from Billy to make up for stealing his act.
I was in the audience, Billy. I saw you do the Gorilla Banana Peel routine. That was my routine. You stole it from me.
They fight as Billy attempts to wrest the gun away, the car crashes, and both men are killed.
You telling me I'm dead? Hey, it's no big deal. Everybody around here is.
Billy finds himself in the afterlife, which resembles the backstage area of a nightclub. Now he must audition on stage, and his performance will determine where he will spend his eternity. Number 4. Kentucky Rye. Bob Spindler and his co-workers celebrate closing a big deal in a bar after work. As ever, Bob has too much to drink and ignores his friend's suggestion to call a cab.
You two are so worried, I'll take a cab.
Instead, he drives home drunk and ends up running another car off the road. Bob is injured in the accident and seeks refuge in a tavern called the Kentucky Rye. As he gets there, he realizes his head is no longer bleeding and he has no injuries.
Won't stop bleeding.
Yeah, looks fine to me.
Taps are open, drinks are on.
Bob spends the whole night partying, and in an unusual way, he ends up buying the bar with the check he got earlier, unknowingly that it's not a regular bar, but actually a place in the Twilight Zone. Number 3. Shelter Skelter. Harry Dobbs is a family man obsessed with surviving a nuclear war. The guy has even built himself a fallout shelter in his basement. One afternoon, his wife Sally takes their 2 kids with her to visit her sister in Kansas City, and Harry stays home. Nick, a friend who runs Harry's gun store, comes by that evening, and they talk about a possible nuclear war. Harry shows Nick the fallout shelter, and they learn on TV that World War III could be imminent.
Defense Cabinet meeting is being held at an undisclosed...
Harry desperately tries to get Sally to come home, but she refuses, saying that he cries wolf far too often. Without warning, a massive explosion occurs, and Harry runs back to the shelter with Nick locking the door. The blast, however, destroys his raised antenna, cutting off all information about what is happening outside. Now the only thing they know for sure is that there is too much radiation outside, and nowhere to go.
Look! No! Look! Nick! No.
Number 2. The Mind of Simon Foster. In the near future, a man named Simon Foster comes home to find a message from the unemployment agency. No more money for him. Simon then decides to take his possessions to a pawn shop to raise money for the rent. But the owner offers very little for what he has. The broker asks if he might have something else to offer, and Simon gets puzzled.
Perhaps there's something else we can negotiate. Remove these memories and store them for use by others.
The broker offers to buy Simon's memories. Simon is hesitant and decides to think about it. But after a threat to be evicted, he returns to the pawn shop to sell a memory.
It gives me great pleasure in presenting this next student not only with his diploma.
Mr. Foster?
Still jobless and short of money, he ends up selling many others, which makes him forget lots of information and do really bad at job interviews. One day at the pawn shop, Simon sells one of his favorite memories.
Just tell me you love me.
After the procedure, feeling deep remorse, he demands his life back.
I want her back. Changed my mind.
Number 1. A Little Peace and Quiet. This was the first episode of the 80s show I saw, and my favorite one. In this episode, Penny is a harried housewife struggling with noisy kids, husband, and all the stress of modern life. Her life is a total mess. One day while working in her garden, Penny finds an old wooden box with a necklace inside. Later that day, while she tries to cook dinner, everybody starts to complain and pass her as usual. Amid all the noise and on the verge of a nervous breakdown, Penny yells at everyone. That's when she realizes that by wearing the pendant, she can freeze and unfreeze time whenever she wants to.
Start talking.
I can do it now or not. I mean, I really need you to do this.
Shut up.
No more noisy breakfast, mess, headaches, a little peace and quiet, at least. But as the old saying goes, there is no evil that lasts forever, nor good that never ends. And one night she finds herself at a dead end, facing the unexpected. Do you agree with my picks? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications.